Hey guys, this is Sports with Dylan. The first round of the draft was last night, and boy do I have a lot of videos for you. But there was one blockbuster trade that stood out so much more than the rest. I did not see it coming, it came from nowhere, and I apologize for not getting this video to you sooner, but I was kind of watching the draft, so... A.J. Brown was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, what? The Titans were in a move to win now. This makes no sense to me. I get A.J. Brown wanted a new contract, but just pay the man. The Eagles could, and it wasn't that massive a contract. It was big, but compared to what some of the receivers are being paid, it wasn't enormous. So why didn't they just pay him? They need him to win. Like, Derrick Henry's amazing, but he was injured, and we don't know how he's going to come back from that injury. Robert Woods is a solid number 2 receiver, but not really anything better. And aside from that, they can't really rely on their defense to win them games, and definitely not Ryan Tannehill making up receivers like Aaron Rodgers can. By the way, there's a video coming out about that soon. I don't mind Ryan Tannehill. I think he's a good option, but when Robert Woods is his only mediocre receiver that you know will be good, that you give him, that's not good enough. Now, they got a first-round pick and a third-round pick for that trade. And they used that first-round pick on Treylon Burks, a receiver who's been, interestingly enough, compared to A.J. Brown quite a bit. But, at the same time, I still don't understand why they would trade A.J. Brown. I'm a huge advocate for trading picks for players as long as it's reasonable enough and it's a position of need, because you know what those players can do in the NFL. Well, we have no idea what Treylon Burks is going to be like. Yes, true, he could end up being the best receiver in the NFL of all time. But he could also end up being a massive draft bust that's out of the league in 2 years. We don't know. So, for the Titans, a winning team to just go trade him, that's just crazy. And it's not like he'd full-on requested a trade. They're probably undergoing negotiations, and he'd probably pushed for either a trade or a contract. But still, I would rather be on the Titans than the Eagles if I were A.J. Brown. At the same time, I would argue he gets an upgrade at quarterback. But you still think the Titans have a true proven head coach and a proven roster. Well, Jalen Hurts is still a question mark, Nick Sirianni is still a question mark, but we'll see. Now, the Eagles, though, they're in good position now. I mean, they should actually win the NFC East. That's my way too early prediction for that. Because you've got A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith as your receivers for Jalen Hurts. Got good running backs, a good defense, and a solid secondary. So, it's pretty good. Couple question marks around the roster. Their defense is aging. But, besides that, their roster's almost set. In fact, they improved the defense this year, but I'm not going to talk about that because you'll find a video on that soon enough. Anyways, I still don't get what the Titans were thinking here. Because you've got the Colts, who are in a strong position to win the AFC South, if they don't. Now, the Jaguars and Texans aren't really competition. But you don't know what Trevor Lawrence will do. So, technically, the Jaguars could be ahead of them. I know it's crazy, but they had a really good draft, which, again, we'll talk about in a video soon. So, A.J. Brown did get a massive extension. Wasn't an overpay in my opinion, as long as he doesn't get injured, which could be considered a concern. Because he did have an injury-riddled season, and he was injured in college a couple times. Most likely is why he fell to the second round. But, still, he's a top 10 receiver when healthy. So I would have tried to keep him on the roster. I mean, they might as well trade Derrick Henry if he was asking for a new contract. They wouldn't, and that'd be a terrible move. But see my point? It's kind of the same thing. I think A.J. Brown's pretty much as vital to that team as Derrick Henry. So we'll have to see what comes out of this. Treylon Burks is an interesting prospect. He fell a lot. He was only the 6th and final receiver taken in round 1. But he's still a pretty good option if he can break out. But you don't know. So I don't think the Titans are even going to make the playoffs this next year. Because you don't know what's going to happen with this roster. And as for the Eagles, well, good luck. They could even win another Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is still a bit of a question mark, as I mentioned, but as long as he keeps playing how he does, or even better, then yeah, Eagles are easily in the playoffs next year. Thanks for watching.